Okay.
All right, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So nice to meet you, Chris. That's your name, right? I think I got that.
Yeah. Another Chris.
Yeah, my name's Chris too. So, real quick, just in case we have someone who has no idea what Mondo Mascots is or who you are, do you have a little introduction you want to make?
Well, sure. I mean, I'm just a guy who lives in Japan, and I follow mascots around and take pictures of them and post them online, and write about them. So I've been doing that for a few years. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram as at Mondo Mascots. Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. What do you do full time during the day? Other sort of journalism?
So I'm an illustrator. So I'm illustrating a lot of English textbooks.
Oh, interesting.
Recently.
In the same style as most of these mascots, or something completely different?
Actually, my style's more kind of Western style, and yeah, just like cartoons. Yeah, but when I first came here, I was an English teacher, and then I've been doing that for a couple of years now.
Interesting. So, I guess to explain a little bit more what these mascots are, and from my perspective, having followed your account for a few years and just like little research on the side, this seems to be a cultural thing where institutions, organizations, businesses, they all sort of personify themselves as a mascot, which I guess first my question is, do you know how that started, and do you see has it evolved to what it is today, or was it always in this form?
Well, in a way, kind of these characters have been around for like hundreds of years. Japan has a lot of folklore. There's the tradition of yokai, kind of ghosts and spirits, but in a kind of commercial sense, like having them represent brands and other things. That's been around probably. I think that's more of a post-war thing. There's probably an American influence there. Like sports mascots definitely comes from the States.
Does it have its roots in sports specifically? Were they the first mascots in Japan that really took off in this way?
Well, I think before that, products, like breakfast cereals and snacks would have characters, and it's sort of connected to manga and anime. Like stores have cute characters on their signs. That's been around for decades. Having the costume versions walking around everywhere is a fairly recent phenomenon. That really blew up about a decade ago.
So on top of that too, it's I guess it's hard to say the distinction, but there are just some industries or businesses that do this where you wouldn't expect it, right? So I guess it's the equivalent we would have in the States is we have our state bird, our state tree, we have these personifications of what represents the state. But this goes beyond, because you'll have banks or public utilities or I'm not even sure. Even, could you give a rundown of the weirdest ones? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because recently I found some ones for funeral homes and
there you go.
Companies that provide funeral services. They have cute characters. You can even get sort of a shrine to put in your home for a loved one. To put the urn with their ashes, but it would be themed around a local mascot.
And that's
that's not very common though.
Okay, that's not very common. I was gonna say.
But I've seen ones for prisons. In fact, I went to a kind of craft fair that for some reason had a bunch of prison mascots there, and that was unusual. I guess that the idea is to make the prison less threatening for local kids, to be part of the community.
So, but it's not just it's not like a mascot in terms of this is the symbolic representation of the prison. It's more like this is a personification of the prison, right? Like they take it a
yeah,
step further.
I guess it. I mean, these things are usually for like PR. You know, they're to promote or you know, to put a friendly face on whatever they're representing. I mean, I guess with a prison, maybe they're hoping the prisoners will all, you know, rally around and cheer on their mascot, but they might be a little optimistic with that. I'm not sure how effective that is.
Okay, and then culturally too, this isn't seen as immature or childish in any way, because we do see a lot of bigger, like serious brands using this, and also like official government stuff. So it's just baked into the culture. You think this is all accepted?
Yeah, well, a lot of, you know, particularly older guys and some of the older politicians say that it's immature and they're not big fans. Like in Osaka city, well, in Osaka Prefecture, they had so many that the governor kind of was complaining, and he ordered a cull of a dozen or so mascots from the, you know, for various government utilities, like, because there'd be sewer mascots and mascots for garbage collection. This guy, I think he did a survey of all his staff, and no one could name all of them. He said, right, some of these have to go.
So okay.
So some of these older guys don't like them.
So also the sheer number of them is staggering. Maybe we could go through your Twitter for a second, in case people aren't aware. Let's just see. We have the coronavirus cat. That's from September. Any good ones stand out from recently? I like the sea urchin.
Recently.
Headless fish.
Well, actually, I mean, a lot of the ones I've been posting recently, they've been around for a few years. But yeah, I mean, ordinarily, like, so right now it's Saturday morning in Japan. Ordinarily, I could go out and find somewhere and take some pictures.
It's like every day there's new ones coming out.
There's,
like,
yeah, a lot of them make public appearances, particularly on the weekends, and I go and take pictures. But during the pandemic, that isn't really happening, except ones that are pandemic related, like like the coronavirus cat, Coronon. You can find that character on the streets most days, handing out masks to people. But the regular mascots are kind of sticking to online activities recently.
So, just a question to like the motivation behind some of these. I understand it from a brand perspective, but then also, like from a marketing standpoint, I'm sure there's a lot of money going into the development of these characters and then like creating, I guess, merchandise around them. Is that the end goal?
Yeah, I mean, case by case, because there are some huge companies that'll pay well-known illustrators to design a mascot, but then other companies, they'll have like a little contest, where members of the public submit designs and they pick the winner, and there's not very much money invested in it. And then some of them, if they get popular, a lot of merchandise comes out. Other ones kind of disappear and they're not very popular. But I guess so the main thing for the last decade has been like regional mascots for cities and towns, and their main purpose is to attract tourism and to sell a lot of merchandise. So that's been very effective for a lot of mascots. But other ones like ones for funeral homes or prisons, I don't think they're selling any merchandise.
Is it almost sure. Is it expected of some businesses, like you have to have a mascot, or you're just doing worse in the marketing department?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're doing anything like, if your business was childcare related or anything to do with kids, if you didn't have a mascot, it would be considered kind of strange. And most, and at this point, most towns and cities do have a mascot. It's unusual for them to not have one now.
So you got into one of my other questions too, which was about the artists. I know the manga industry, the anime industry, they have their issues with underpaying artists and like famous people. Well, the first question is, are there famous mascot artists? And the second question is, how known are they? What is that lifestyle like?
of the regional mascots, they'll hire, a famous local artist. For example, like Hayao Miyazaki, who makes the Ghibli movies. The town where Ghibli is based, he designed the mascot. But I think it was very much him just drawing a picture on a napkin, and then they made it into the mascot. And I don't think I'm not sure if he gets a cut of the merchandising, right? It probably does, I imagine. But then, a lot of like small towns and villages, they'll just get a design from a local kid or something, and like some of them are designed by 6-year-olds. That's part of the charm, actually. They'll have a really basic design, but they'll spend a lot of money making it into a costume that looks like the picture. But there aren't many designers that became famous as a result of designing mascots. There are a handful.
But usually they're famous already, and then they get asked to make a mascot.
Yeah, or they're a member of the public, or a lot of them are just professional illustrators, but they haven't made a name for themselves. There are a few. There are some people that design several mascots, but they're not well known to the public. I just recognize the patterns and I look it up, and I notice that they're designed by the same person. And I guess designing the mascot, in many cases, it includes literally just drawing the original pictures that the costume is modeled on, and they might not ever do anything else. It might just simply be doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because I do illustration, I submit designs to these contests quite a lot. So.
Oh, do you have any I could see? We'll show them on stream.
Not on this computer. My regular computer has them, but it melted down. But I'll look out for
we'll go through Twitter still. Yeah.
There'll be a small village or something seeking a mascot design, and the winner only gets $100 or something, but then your design becomes the mascot for that town. So I thought, that'd be cool. So if I see anything like that, I submit a design, but I haven't won any yet.
So it sounds like when you're submitting it, you're turning over rights to this, but their goal is to make this character blow up merchandise-wise. Are there ever any controversies where that happens?
I think I would be surrendering the rights, but I mean, ultimately, I don't think they would be that popular. But hopefully, I'd get some clout from having a character become popular. But there have been issues with this in the past. Like some people, they'll design the character, but they only give the town or the company the rights for a certain amount of time. So there are towns where their mascot, they lose the rights to their mascot, it goes back to the artist. That's happened a few times. And so they have to come up with a new character or renegotiate the terms with the artist. One of the first big mascots was called Hikonyan, which is like a samurai cat that lives in Hikone City. And that was one of the first big characters, so I don't know if they were expecting it to be a big hit, but it became really popular, and the artist kind of...
What year was this? Like the first... Well, actually, could you send me a picture of this one?
How do I do that?
You could just send a link in this text channel here in the server.
Yeah, hold on. I'm just going to minimize this. Okay. I'll just find one now. It's it's like a white cat with a horned helmet, and I think it became a huge smash hit, and the artist wasn't getting a cut of the profits, and so he sued them, and they ended up coming to an arrangement. Hold on, I'll drop something into the message here. This
There
is
we
just the Google image search.
That's fine. I'll pull
See a
this
bunch
up.
of them. Yeah. Most of these, characters like this I've seen several times, at events and taken pictures of. So that one became really huge, and that kind of kicked off the whole boom for regional mascots.
But what year was this that Hikonyan came out?
I think 2007 it was first introduced, and then it sort of gradually became popular. And then around 2011, Kumamon came out and became even more popular, and then things snowballed from there.
Now, when you say popular, this is like, I guess in America we only get Pokemon, Hello Kitty, like the top Japanese cultural export. So we don't hear about a lot of this. But relative to in Japan, how big are these?
So the one I just linked, like Hikonyan, I think most people in the country could identify that one. And if you mention the city,
11
if you mention the city, people will associate it with that character first, probably more than anything else.
I see.
Kumamon, everybody knows. And in fact, talking about rights with Kumamon, they have a deal. Basically, any company can put Kumamon on their products. They can approach Kumamoto City and say, "Can we put pictures of Kumamon on our snacks or our boxes of tissues?" And they get the rights for free. Because it's kind of promoting Kumamoto. So Kumamon is everywhere.
Is there an equivalent in the States? I guess kind of like Snoopy, or like just these generic characters that are seen on a lot of brands.
But Snoopy at least has a story.
Commercial.
There's cartoons and things. A lot of these, they don't really. There's no story or mythology. Some of them have have detailed backstories.
I'm sure that's not the focus when they come up with them.
Yeah, but there are for example, if you're talking about sort of artists' rights, one of the biggest ones is Funashi, which is a pear fairy from Funabashi City. That one wasn't sanctioned by the town, so it's a mascot for Funabashi City, but nobody asked for it, So just a citizen made this character and makes merchandise and performs and
interesting.
Makes appearances.
Would you call this like an open source mascot then? Like anyone can use it without? Oh, interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and that person has made an absolute ton of money. Like they've made a fortune, like millions and millions of dollars. Like that character put together like a rock band where all the members are mascots and they fill out stadiums and
wow.
The character's on TV all the time. Well, it was actually. Like nowadays, by choice, that character doesn't appear very often. But the person behind it has made a lot of money, and they're very philanthropic. So whoever made the character donates a lot of the money to local charities. So
do they ever get? Like, is there a over-commercialization problem where they start small and humble and then they just become these huge money machines and they become more reserved?
Yeah. I mean, some of them get kind of overexposed and people get sick of them, and they're kind of a fad that doesn't last too long. But a lot of these characters you don't really hear about or see until you go to the town that they represent, and then they're everywhere. So I guess if you lived in a town and you didn't like the town's mascot, that you get sick of seeing them everywhere.
Do most towns like their mascots, or is this a thing where people are fighting about it to try to redesign them constantly to outcompete each other?
Sometimes if a mascot was designed or made like a decade ago, the style might be seem a little old-fashioned, and people will be trying to redesign them. But I don't know if there are local artists, fighting over who gets to redesign it. I think they still would approach the original artist, or the costumes quite often get redesigned, and they often crowdfund the new costumes so that it's not paid for by local government money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do taxpayers want to spend all this budget on? Well, I'm sure in some cases where they are bringing in a lot of tourism, they want to spend thousands of dollars, figuring out a really good mascot and optimizing it to get tourism. But
yeah, I guess they probably make a lot of the money back through merchandise and through the exposure. Oops, sorry, my earphone just fell out.
oh, it's okay.
Yep. Yeah, just put it back in. Okay, sure. Yeah, so I think but then there are towns where they make like a really weird mascot, and then nobody likes it.
Can you think of any really weird mascots? I don't know if I can even find them.
There's so in like Nara City, which is quite a sort of picturesque tourist town with lots of shrines and temples. They paid an illustrator to make a mascot, and it was just kind of considered to be really weird and creepy. And it's called Sento-kun, and it's like this sort of chubby kind of boy with antlers.
All right, let's see. Oh my god.
Yeah, when it first came out, everybody hated it because they're like, our taxes are paying for this thing, and we don't like it. And it's not a true representation of the spirit of our city. And there was a kind of local campaign to replace it. But because the government had already invested all this money in the character and the costumes and everything, they stuck with it. But then a kind of unofficial local mascot appeared that was much cuter, and so if you go there now, you can sort of see both of those characters. So,
is it common for a town to have multiple mascots?
Yeah. I mean, some towns they have like. If the mascot is popular, they'll get they'll have a family grow around them, like there'll be kids. Yeah, and they'll Mickey Mouse has Minnie Mouse. They'll expand, and then they'll get nephews and nieces. And also like the town will have a mascot, but then their police force will have a mascot, and
each institution within the town.
Yeah,
they all work together.
Yeah, like you'll have it. Like some towns will have like 12 mascots or something. Even if it's not a big town. I'm just trying to think of my local ones. So I live in Tokyo, and the sort of area I live, the ward I live in has a mascot, but then within that, the sort of smaller town that I live in also has a mascot. So you got sort of almost a mascot hierarchy.
Is there like a ranking of mascots? Like, do people consider some of them better than others? Like, do we have more loyalty to a town level versus like a city level versus like your state level?
I think it's mostly based on whichever one they like the most and what's cutest. Yeah, a lot of people here will have a favorite mascot. There aren't many people like me who like all of them and follow them all, but people tend to just tend to latch onto one and really like it, and it could just be a mascot for their local swimming pool or something, or the mascot for their school or whatever. And have you heard of the Yurukara Grand Prix?
I don't even know how to spell that.
It's kind of. Well, it's ended now, but it's been going for the last 10 years, and each year they have like a national kind of like an election to decide who is the most popular mascot. So people vote for their favorite mascots online.
Actually, that'd be really interesting to see if they have any brackets of past results.
They do, yeah. It's on the
Should I search for it?
I can probably share a link, but it ended. They did the last one last year because each year, like, the winners would step down, and it was getting to the point where it was mostly kind of obscure ones entering, and that would get very competitive. So So one year, like, there was a kind of a vote fixing scandal.
Oh, really? I have to hear about this. Well,
Yeah,
is this a thing where each year there's like the Golden Globes of mascots, or like a very big competition where this matters and people are rigging it a lot?
Yeah, kind of. Well, originally it was kind of authentic, and it represented who was actually popular. I'm just sharing the site with you here.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and it did represent who was popular. So characters like Kumamon would win. But then in recent years, people want to win for the prestige and the exposure. So they'd have like. If it's a city mascot, that they'd all the city hall staff would be sitting in at their desks, setting up multiple accounts and voting several times a day for their local mascot.
Wow.
And you'd get a character that only has like 200 followers on Instagram or Twitter, but they're getting thousands of votes.
There's so many of them.
Yeah. So the top 2 or 3 mascots that were in the lead got kind of penalized, and a different character won that year. Like,
who were the top 3, just so I know? I can try to.
Well, so the character that ultimately won, that wasn't cheating, was called Kapal, which is like a big kappa.
How do I spell that? C-A-P.
It's K-A-P-A-L. Yeah, that's a kappa, which is like a kind of mythological water imp.
Yeah, demon. Oh, I see.
Yeah, they used to be scary a couple of hundred years ago, but now they've become cute. But yeah, that one actually plays bass in the band, the mascot band that I mentioned earlier.
So he's the actual community favorite, not the regular.
Yeah, well, that's the one that actually kind of legitimately won. And then the ones that got caught cheating. Well, the main one was Konyudoku, which is like a sort of chubby boy with blue hair, and yeah, there was a bit of a scandal. But I mean, actually, people seem to get over it pretty quickly. I haven't heard anyone. No one still. Yeah, it's. I could type in the spelling. Oops. Yeah, you'll probably be able to find it if you put that in. Yeah, it's got a very long tongue that people tug on.
Oh, weird.
A lot of them have gimmicks like that. There's one that kind of blows up balloons with its farts. And then there are a lot of them have weird gimmicks like that.
I noticed that too. Do they all have a superpower, or is that just like a different way to differentiate themselves?
Yeah, I guess that if they want to be remembered or make a splash, they have to have something like that going for them. Yeah, and quite often they'll be making public appearances, and they need some kind of party trick to do on stage. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Just scrolling through some of the other ones. So how many?
Yeah.
Just like a guesstimate. How many thousands of mascots are there in like? Is there a database somewhere you could look this up? Or?
There is one database in Japanese, and they've got 4,000 on that one, I think. But that doesn't even include a lot of characters, because I mean, you could just go to a local dentist and a member of staff has drawn a character and put it on the wall and said, "This is our mascot." So there are so many that it's impossible to count, really.
Yeah,
a lot of those are my favorite ones as well. Like, I'll find one for a clinic for. I found one for like a proctologist, and it's a very obscure character nobody knows, but it's kind of funny to me that
if you have a folder of images,
would have a character.
Yeah, just send me all your favorites, because it'd be good to just you purified it down to the most interesting ones.
Yeah, they're all on my Twitter. Yeah, I'm just using. I had to borrow a laptop from work, so my all that stuff is on my regular laptop. But Yeah, I can share some videos, some images with you.
Yeah, while we're
as
talking,
we
you can
talk
send them
about-
through. I'll just keep scrolling through Twitter for now so they can look at something.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me run through my list of questions I had. There's so much I want to ask, like getting to the psychology behind this and why it works. Like, clearly this wouldn't work in an American culture.
Well, you know.
Well,
you've got-
in a different way, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? It's starting to take off in Korea and Taiwan and other Asian countries.
Well, I was going to ask, is this something that's accelerating more and more, or is it kind of stabilized and now it's just a common practice, but you don't see it?
I think it kind of peaked around 5 years ago, and now it's sort of died down because, like, the regional mascots pretty much everywhere has already done it. So new ones have not been appearing at the same rate. But there are kind of it's kind of evolved. Like now there are like virtual YouTubers who
Yeah, that's
like
a whole other thing.
people will make the costume and they'll like make videos and they're not really a mascot for anything. They've just created this character and they're putting themselves out there. Some of those are getting popular now. The last sort of big mascot event I went to, which was the last one of these Yurukata Grand Prix last year, the characters getting the most attention were the virtual YouTube ones.
Is
There's
that
one called Peanuts Coon, which is it kind of looks like Homer Simpson. It's just this guy wearing like underpants, and I don't know what. I haven't really watched the videos much, but it's kind of a
it's
bizarre
like
character.
an Adult Swim character? Yeah,
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I think it has that sort of audience.
like an early Flash animation.
Yeah.
Weird. So these are like live events, you're saying, these Grand Prix. So is it done virtually over the course of a week, or is there like a big live event that people go to?
Well, I go to a lot of those things. I mean, there haven't really been many lately, but usually you'll get like there'll be booths and you can walk around and the characters will be at the booths and they're selling toys and other things related to the mascots, and there'll also be a stage and each mascot will get up and they'll dance to their own theme song or they'll juggle or something like that. And
So it's really just like a convention, and it's open to the public. People go for this reason.
Yeah. I went to one. There were like 400 mascots there, walking around, and there usually aren't as many as that.
Wow.
But more often, I will go to like a local food festival or something, and there'll be one or two wandering around. And that's how I see most of them.
Another question then, like, surely at the scale of this, where you have entire convention halls filled with all these mascots, like, is there a syndrome where people collect them and get into the fandom itself, or is it just isolated into I care about my region ones and that's it? Like, is there anyone
usually,
like you, I guess?
Not as many. There are, but not as many. There's one guy called Osamu Kana on Instagram who finds and posts pictures. He finds characters and posts pictures of them every day. He'll go out and he'll be wandering around, and there'll be pictures from all over the country. I don't know how he funds that, because I guess he can't be working, but he's out and about taking pictures every day, and even during the pandemic, he's somehow finding mascots that are appearing somewhere. But there are only a couple of other people like that I can think of.
Well, to understand like the greater picture of the mascots, then, like, we wouldn't consider all baseball mascots and all football mascots like living in the same shared universe, really. Maybe I'm just getting this gist because I'm looking at your Twitter and it's different perspective, but like, are there people who look at all the mascots collectively and they're like, I am a fan of mascots as a brand, as an aesthetic, as like a lifestyle? Do those people exist?
Some, yeah. That's a very minor group of people.
Okay. It's not like a furry fandom type of thing.
No. So when I go to these events, each person that I encounter will have the T-shirt and the toys and stuff for one specific mascot that they've come to see, and they'll enjoy the experience, and they'll take pictures of all the mascots they see. But there'll be one or two that they particularly like usually. Yeah,
And is that like a loyalty with the family, kind of like a sports team, where the whole family will?
Yeah. Well, people are definitely loyal to their local mascots, or whichever one's their favorite. Yeah, but I guess the mascots in the States are starting to get a bit weirder with like Gritty and.
What do you think of him as a outsider perspective?
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
You like it? Do you think we should go for more abstract, weird mascots?
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen the Mysterious Fish?
Mysterious
in
Fish.
Japan it's called Nazo no Sakana, and it's which translates as the Mysterious Fish, and that's a mascot for the Chiba Lotte Marines, and it sort of evolves every season. And
interesting.
It's like a big fish, and it kind of pukes out its skeleton, and then the skeleton runs around the field.
Yeah, when it comes to sports, I think they should go all out like this. I see no reason not to have a ridiculous character.
Yeah. That character isn't even the team's main mascot, it just appears occasionally.
Oh, what's their main mascot?
Unexpected. Chiba Lotte Marines, their main mascot is something it's something very ordinary, so I can't quite remember it offhand. Yeah, a lot of the sports ones are quite normal. They're closer to the ones you'd get in the States, actually.
Oh, I was gonna say, are the sports ones more out there? Because if you had a big bank or a company with like a fish whose guts came out and danced on stage, like that doesn't seem to work. But in sports, maybe that works because you need a gimmick for the crowd.
That's true, yeah. So I think Chiba Lotte Marines, yeah, they have this crazy mascot, but that's more of the exception than the rule. I think the main mascot is just like a seagull or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the team name like the Seagulls?
Yeah. So there's like the Osaka Hanshin Tigers. The mascot's a tiger. There are some strange ones. There's the Chunichi Dragons. Their mascot's not a dragon; it's a koala. And the koala, because there's a famous koala in the local zoo there.
Oh, taking it after the area around it. I see. But do they have a dragon mascot as well?
Is that they have two dragon mascots that are not as popular. Yeah, actually, you're talking about changing and upgrading the mascots. They do that more with sports teams.
Oh, so how often is a rebrand done? Because that seems like a sacred thing in the U.S. where we're scared to change even like questionable mascots.
Yeah, well, they'll do it fairly regularly. Like, if they think, oh, this mascot's not cute enough. So traditional sports mascots here are kind of like the ones in the States where, they're quite, they're more human shaped. Mm-hmm. Whereas the recent popular mascots are kind of round and chubby, but a lot of them are being replaced by the new kind of chubbier, rounder types of mascots. So yeah, there was a soccer team that had a kind of tough-looking hawk mascot, and it's been replaced by a sort of cuter version recently.
Is that the trend is just go cuter? Like that is the best marketing tactic, I guess.
I think so. Yeah. Although with that Mysterious Fish, they definitely didn't do that.
Well, it's cute in its own way. Like clearly everything gets more rounded, more cartoony, more. I don't know if abstract is the right word, but. So generally, you're saying it's falling out of favor to do more human shapes, and it's more creative now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The less human it looks, the better. And a lot of the newer ones, I can't even really tell where the eye holes are. I don't know how they're seeing outside of the costume.
Some of these are pretty cute, I have to admit.
Yeah, they're getting better at hiding the eye holes. The costumes are very sophisticated. They've got fans in there. Some of them have cameras, and the person inside is looking at a monitor to see where they're walking.
Are there famous mascot actors, or are they just faceless employees in suits like the U.S.?
Yeah, well, there's a bit of a taboo about exposing the human inside.
Oh, I see.
So they don't really, we don't really find out much about who's inside.
Are they considered like actors though, or are they just like low-level employees?
Well, with the bigger, more popular characters, they'll get someone very. They'll have a sort of highly trained professional, but then, like a small town, they'll just get like a local teenager or like a sort of new member of staff to wear the costume.
Okay, that's interesting that they don't let them break that illusion. Like it's just a faceless or like there's no person tied with it in case that person moves on and does a different role or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, but they tend to sort of keep the performers under wraps. There's like a mascot school, like there's like a company where you go and they'll train you to perform as a mascot in Tokyo somewhere. It's called Chocolate, and
Mascot school.
Yeah, it's like an academy that trains people to be inside mascots.
So is this like a thing you pay to go to for like a while, like a highly regarded thing?
Yeah, I think it's probably a short course. I think you probably only go for a few days, but yeah, that's so probably the companies will send whoever they've picked there to train. Yeah,
interesting.
And it's big, and the companies that make the costumes, that's a big business too.
Yeah, Geodude Catcher in a chat makes a good point, like professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So is this a thing where people start low on the ladder? Well, I guess this comes with the artist too. Like, do you start drawing like menial mascots and you hope to design like a big city someday?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I guess people, if they design a sort of smaller mascot and it gets popular, that'll allow them to design other more popular mascots.
Another question I had looking at these is they're so similar. Like, is there some sort of copyright protection that they like keep this design, or are there ever duplicates that get exposed? Like, they try to not do that?
Oh, you mean like are they suing each other for being too similar?
Yeah, I'm sure either suing or just like, do they actively try to keep the designs distinct, or are they just copying like a trend of having this white blob with a cute face on it? I see that one a lot.
Well, I think they're encouraged to make them as simple as possible so that they can be sort of drawn by anyone, and they can be sort of duplicated in toy form or on t-shirts. So they try and keep the designs as simple as possible, and usually kind of round and cute. Yeah, but then again, some characters get popular by bucking the trend, and if they're completely unique, they'll make more of a splash.
So in all your time, you've never seen two look so similar that there was any controversy or anything like that?
Well, there's one, but they were actually done by the same artist. I guess that's one of the
That's kind of what I'm thinking. If you leave and go do this similar thing elsewhere because it worked for another client. Yeah,
there's the famous story. It ended up on John Oliver, where there were two mascots. There's one otter mascot for this Susaki City, and another character appeared, designed by the same person but not employed by Susaki City, and the new one was doing a lot of crazy stunts and putting lots of YouTube videos out there, and like old people in the city were seeing this stuff, and they were complaining to the city, saying, why are our taxes paying for this? Like, but they had to say, that's not our character, that's somebody else. There was a bit of a lawsuit there.
Interesting. So they actually shut down a fan creation because it was giving the city a bad name, they thought?
Well, they didn't really shut it down because it was like they paid the illustrator, and they did have a court case, but the court case went in favor of the new one. Like because apparently there are enough differences for it to not be
I see.
considered a copyright issue. So that character's Cheetan, which I post a lot.
Oh, here. Cheetan.
You know, yeah. If you see any of the videos, Cheetan posts tons of Instagram and YouTube videos every day that are very funny.
Viral Otter now has its own mascot. Is this it?
Yeah. And there was a bit of an uproar in Sasaki City about that character.
Why?
Yeah.
But for the reasons you said before, or another reason?
Well, so the original mascot, Shinjoku, is kind of quite a sort of wholesome, cute character, but Cheetan is doing like pole dancing and like sort of jackass style stunts, you know, like prank videos.
People don't like the reboot. That's kind of funny. Is this a trend where they're all doing like younger TikTok star type of stunts to stand out?
Yeah, a lot of them are on TikTok or YouTube, and they're making kind of wacky videos. But Cheetan's impressive. Like, they come up with something funny every day. So they've got some good people working for them, coming up with ideas.
It's pretty interesting. And I guess this is like its own. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I think I was going to say that isn't even a mascot for anything. It's just its own character.
Yeah, like is the goal to build up these individual brands around either a YouTube channel or, I don't know, Nico, something else, the equivalent there, and then I don't know. I guess it's kind of like the virtual YouTubers still, but just in a costume.
Yeah, and then they make merchandise, you know, T-shirts, toys, etc. They get money from that. That's big business in Japan. You know, like people will buy a lot of merchandise related to the characters that they like.
So just walking down the street, is it common to see like a whole collection of mascots from around Japan, or at least the ones from your area on shirts, bags? I don't know.
Oh yeah, well. Especially on signs around the town. Like, so where I live, if I walk down the street, I'll see images of my local mascot. Like, I'll see dozens of them in a 5-minute walk. You know, at the moment, mostly signs encouraging social distancing and wearing masks.
I see.
Involving that character. And then if in the station, there's a kiosk and I can buy, you know, like pencil cases, or I can buy snacks with that character on. And I imagine it's the same in most towns around Japan.
Is it changing much with the COVID epidemic? Like, are mascots all encouraging kids to wear masks? Is that a movement, or are new mascots coming out?
Well, particularly the ones that are like government, you know, like local mascots that they're sort of paid for by the local government, so they use them for those kinds of campaigns. So they'll make videos showing how to wash your hands effectively.
So that's a specific thing. Like, they're used in education, and they're used in I don't know, like working with children at a state level. Yeah, and there'll be like signs saying don't do drugs, or you know, they use them for like everything around the town. Yeah, I saw a sign, and it was I went into the local city hall, and there was like a poster about like this notorious murder that happened, but like they had the cute local mascot on the poster saying, do you have any information about this murder? But it was kind of incongruous to see the character in that context. Yeah, again, it's kind of weird culture to get over that. Because I feel like even if I'm a kid and I'm being raised on this, once you get to a certain age, it must be uncool to keep going with this. Kind of like the Dare character, I forget what he's called, that lion. Just like when the government attempts to like get to kids through cartoons, it always seems to fail, at least in the Western countries. Maybe I'm not thinking of something.
Yeah, actually, that isn't so much of a thing here. It isn't considered uncool. I guess if the character's been around for a while, it might be out of date and kind of lame, but if they had a kind of stylish new character doing it, people would still be into it, even if they're teenagers.
But even an old character, I'm sure, like you said, they just give it a revamp and they keep the name the same, and that's fine.
Yes, yeah, that happens, yeah. And yeah, I mean, the whole local mascot thing blew up a few years ago. It is kind of dying down now, but maybe it just seems that way because of the pandemic. So who knows? Maybe they'll be back with a vengeance before long. Yeah.
There's so many. I could scroll through this all day.
Yeah. Yeah, because ordinarily I'll go out and find them and take pictures. So that's what I'd usually be doing on a Saturday morning. But yeah, there won't be anybody out today, I don't think.
What is there a description for this sort of Pokemon type effect that happens? Is this something unique to Japan, you think? Where just characters and like listing them and compiling them and building universes out of them, that's just like a common practice?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, you can do that with mascots. What? Yeah, I don't know. There probably is.
I kind of want to talk to someone who
expression for that.
Yeah, like a deep cultural psychologist or something who knows about this.
Yeah, because you know, the way I treat it is almost like playing Pokemon Go, where like I'll walk around and take pictures of mascots I find, and it's similar to playing Pokemon Go but in the real world. It's in a way, it's almost like butterfly collecting or bird watching.
Yeah, there's I don't want to say obsessive, that's strong, but like the collective instinct or the gathering. I don't know what that's called. It seems prevalent. Mm-hmm. Again, maybe it's just because I'm viewing your Twitter feed and you've curated it so nicely for me, so I just see them presented in such a neat manner. Maybe they're a bit more random and unconnected than I'm giving it credit for it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I tend to post the more weird or funny or odd ones. There are some characters where it's just a rabbit or just a lion, and it's not that inherently that interesting, so I don't post a lot of those ones.
Like just nameless generic characters that anyone could throw in if they don't have one, kind of.
Yeah.
Huh.
And occasionally those ones, I'll post about them if they're doing something crazy, like bungee jumping or promoting an unusual campaign about something. But yeah, I tend to stick to the more strange ones.
Yeah, the strange ones definitely are interesting. I can see why that took off. Maybe it would actually be interesting to hear about how you started this. So it looked like 2014 you started this, at least the Twitter, and then the Instagram is what really got you attention, right?
Actually, more the other way around. I started the Instagram first, but then I did the Twitter, and the Twitter blew up. And yeah, the Instagram only got popular after I started sharing it on Twitter and saying follow my Instagram.
I see. Which one is doing better for you nowadays?
Still the Twitter.
Okay, I don't use Instagram, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess just Twitter. A lot of people sort of retweet me on Twitter and share it, and so I get more followers that way. But you can't really do that on Instagram, so it's harder to pick up followers on there, I find. But I was posting mascots just on my regular accounts before that for years, and I decided to just set up a dedicated account because I had so many pictures.
So you had already been doing this on your own, unprompted, and then you just started sharing your whole backlog?
Just every now and again I'd see a mascot and take a picture and post it. Huh. But then I thought, I have hundreds of these. I may as well start sharing them.
Yeah,
on their own account.
I wonder if you have any future projects for this. Like, are you just going to keep chronicling them as you have, or anything you're going to change?
Yeah, well, I'm putting together a book.
Nice.
Like a coffee table book with, lots of pictures. So, hopefully I'll get a publisher for that soon. And, And I'm still designing my own mascots. So hopefully one of those will take off. Yeah, I've got a Twitter and an Instagram for
send them over.
My own characters. Like Mouse Scott, I've got a character called Mouse Scott, which is the mascot for all other mascots. So I'm getting kind of meta with that.
Mouse Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, you may have to
Mouse Scott, which is a kind of guy dressed as a mouse who wants to be the mascot for other mascots.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah. And if that gets popular, maybe I'll commission one of the Japanese costume makers to make a costume for it.
Yeah, if I ever make a mascot, I'm definitely gonna come to you and have you design one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Well, and then if I could get a costume made and someone could wear it at one of those events, that'd be cool. Yeah. But some of the companies and towns I've sent designs to have been things like sewer mascots or.
Here he is. I see Mousecot.
Yeah. I posted one. I don't post on there very much, actually. I should probably do it more often. Yeah.
Hopefully you get a follower out of this. Go follow Mousecot.
Yeah.
Meta Mascot.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to my design to be more like the Japanese ones, but it's not quite there yet. It's more slightly. It's hard to catch the sort of vacant eyes of the Japanese mascots.
Could you I almost want to say could you describe right now the best formula for mascot, and I could just draw it in MS Paint and try to figure it out? Very
Maybe.
round, big vacant eyes. Any other features?
Yeah. Well, so what's your local town? Where are you now?
I'm in New Jersey. We don't have any mascots really.
So if you were gonna make a New Jersey mascot, I guess what's you were saying before, the local bird or whatever. What's the bird for
Good
New
question.
Jersey?
I don't actually know. Let's see. Local
And it's
bird. Goldfinch?
goldfinch.
Yeah, the American
and then
goldfinch.
they tend to involve whatever the local food is. What's the most famous food from
New Jersey. Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm thinking of Jersey Mike's, a sub.
Oh, no, I can't believe that's what you think of.
Well, I don't know what food.
I don't know.
associate with
I have no
Jersey.
clue. There's so many foods you could associate with Jersey, like pizza.
A lot of them are pizza, but then would that? Yeah, I guess pizza's also in New York, right? Yeah, Jersey. That's a tricky one.
We're
Well, I
so
guess
diverse in a way. It's hard to think of how to boil that down to one thing.
Yeah, well, here they'll combine the local food with the local bird or whatever, and they combine whatever the town is famous for into one thing.
I see.
And
So
there's a lot of puns involved, so I guess it could be a goldfinch wearing a jersey, something like that.
So the formula is take local animal, preferably the cutest animal you can find. Then take food or local hat, a clothing item, a cultural item. Put them together. That's the main two ingredients, and give them a superpower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you can't find anything, you can do a pun on the town's name. But there's one town in Japan that doesn't have anything famous about it, and the character is So it's Kamisu Town, and there's nothing famous about it. The character's just his head is an outline of the region's map with an arrow pointing to where the town is.
That's a cute one.
Yeah. But that character's quite popular, even though that town doesn't really have anything notable about it.
And what is this an aesthetic thing? People like the shape of it, or is it an attitude? What is it about this that appeals to people who aren't from the region if they're just seeing this random character?
Oh, well, if it's kind of unique or memorable.
What's memorable about it? You're kind of right. They all kind of look vacant. Is there a personality behind this? Is he sassy? He's got these eyes, I guess.
Well, the Kamisu one.
Kamisu Koko-kun I have up here.
Yeah. Well, that one, it's so Koko means here, right? So the name is here is Kamis.
I see.
And then he's holding an arrow that's pointing to where the town is. But his head is an outline of the prefecture that the town is in, which is Ibaraki Prefecture. That one also talks with a kind of robot voice, like a member of Daft Punk or something. So it has that going for it too.
Do they have voices normally, distinct ways of speaking, or I guess
Most
ways
of them
of writing
don't
too?
talk. Most of them don't talk, but some of them do. Yeah, and they usually have a very high-pitched kind of squeaky voice.
Of course they do. They're all like
Yeah.
minions.
Yeah. That one actually has a fairly unique voice. It sounds, like it's got a vocoder or something inside. It's got quite a distorted robot voice.
Have any
Yeah, but
mascots
yeah.
gone on to like have a manga or an anime after them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, some of them have anime come out, particularly on local TV, and then a handful have had movies made about them. And some of the less popular characters actually end up in movies. They're fairly like their faces are kind of expressionless when they're in the costume form, so they don't really make for good movie characters. But yeah, in anime or manga, it comes out pretty well.
These costumes are like, I guess I'm also thinking of the furry fandom or like Disney costumes. Are these very expensive, like highly well done costumes? Are there many copies of them?
They've got some kind of special workshops making them. They cost like about $6,000 each to make those. I don't know how many copies each town has, but they'd have more than one, I'd imagine. There's one where so in Ehime Prefecture, the main character is Mikian, which is like a sort of mandarin orange combined with a puppy.
How do I spell that?
And Mikyan. And so with that one, like when the costume got old, they made a new one, and then the other costume was kind of moldy and dirty, so they just dyed it like a sort of dark green color and made it like the villain, the enemy of the main character. So they made like dark Mikian, which I guess is kind of a moldy mandarin orange.
Moldy
dog.
mandarin orange?
Yeah. So that's
I found one of them.
So they make use for the old costumes sometimes.
Do mascots like die? Like, do they
Well,
kill
some
them
of
off
them
at some
get
point?
retired.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't heard of them actually being actually killed off. A lot of them, they'll like say, well, we're not using this mascot anymore, and they'll say the character's retired or gone into hibernation or graduated, I've heard used.
I found Dark Mikian.
Unless they're being replaced by a cuter version, it's usually because the town has run out of like the rights to the character have expired, so they'll say, oh, this character's retiring or graduating.
Okay, and there's not like an emotional outcry of people wanting to keep the old one. Like they'll accept
sometimes,
it.
yeah. Some people get really sad about it.
Okay, but it's never like a huge controversy that rocks Japan.
No, not really. No. Yeah. There's it may be locally, like if a small town, sometimes a small town will have a character that gets kind of disproportionately popular, but then the artist regains the rights to it after the rights expire, and they'll say, right, I'm keeping this character now, and the people in the town will be upset about it.
I wanted to ask about this one. Do you know who Big Low Bibble is?
Big Low Bibble?
I'll send him to you. It's just a funny one. Put it in the Discord. I guess I could translate this.
I'll just open it. Yeah.
Some of them I look at and I just wonder, like, what is the purpose? What does this mean? The mascot of the internet provider Big Globe. Oh, I see.
Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna open it on there.
Yeah. That's okay. I got the translation.
Big Lobe. Oh, I have heard of. Okay. And I think Big Lobe. I think it's like Big Globe.
Yeah, I see.
Combining the two. Hold on. I'm just opening it.
Just like funny.
Been slow.
I like Morph-chan. I think that's a pretty funny name too.
Yeah. I'm sort of clicking on this and it's not opening, but oh, here we go. Okay.
Do you have, I guess, a top 3 favorites? Or anything you want to show the viewers if they haven't seen them yet?
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Suddenly this link is opening. Wow, my computer is slow today. Okay, Bipple. Oh yeah. I guess that's. I mean, it's just a big. It's like a big globe, basically.
Yeah.
Just
I didn't realize it was
blue
an
ball.
internet
That one's-
provider. Makes a bit more sense.
That's
now.
very minimalist. That one. Yeah. Well, I guess my favorites. I'd put Cheetan in the group, like
Yeah, we did that one.
the kind of crazy one, and Funashi, who I mentioned before, who sings in his own metal band and does all kinds of crazy stunts. I'd probably say my local mascot, just to be loyal.
Oh yeah, shout
So
him
my
out.
local mascot's Sanchawan, which is like a dog with a tea bowl on its head. Well, actually, his head is a tea bowl.
Yeah,
And
ears and leaves.
yeah. That one, that one is not that remarkable, but I actually run into that one fairly regularly. Not so much in pandemic times, but otherwise, when I'm just walking down the street, I'll see that one walking around on a fairly regular basis. So I like that one.
All right.
So I'd probably pick those for my top 3.
All right. What are you doing the rest of the day? It's morning there. So you're
Yeah,
getting
well, I
ready?
might, go for a walk. Who knows? I might run into a mascot while I'm out.
Yeah. I don't know if there are any
so-
viewers left, but if they had questions too, feel free to type them.
Yeah.
But
Would that be in Twitch?
yeah, we had.
Which is-
We went down to 5 viewers right now, but we peaked around 10 or 12 before, and I'll have this recording up here later.
Okay.
Hopefully people
Yeah.
learned something. I learned a lot. It was definitely interesting just asking you these random questions and getting to ask an expert after all this time.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, anything you want to shout out? Any projects, blogs? I guess go follow him on Twitter, your Mondo Mascot.
Yeah, just you can just follow me at Mondo Mascots on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh yeah, wait, where's one Mondo? Oh, here, Mondo Mascots on Twitter, everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
I like this one too, Soko Chikun. I'm gonna have to translate
Soko
this. It's on
The
screen.
name says. Name says
Sansei Landic Co. Limited. The land is the land that the landowner rents to the landlord who wants to build a building. What? This makes no sense. I'll send it to you. It's pretty cute. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I know which one that is from that description. Okay.
This guy's also pretty terrifying. Save this image.
Yeah. So maybe I'll. Oh, okay. That's another very simple one.
Yeah, I see a lot of these.
Sokochi-kun, yeah. Some of these more minimal ones, sort of, they escape my attention, and then I might do a deep dive on some of these.
It would be cool to
later.
have a whole list of like all these are similar. Like I feel like I see the like Ball of Mochi character a lot, at least in some of the ones you posted.
Yeah, that's like a popular trope. Yeah,
Pretty
I guess.
amorphous.
Yeah. I guess that's what this guy is. Sokochi, yeah. Now where? Yeah, this is one that I haven't kind of encountered in the wild. Most of these I've actually seen somewhere at an event and taken pictures of. Yeah. So I guess it's some kind of landlord.
This one is a yam that helps a kidnapped princess.
Oh wow! So yeah, they have some quite sort of evolved backstories.
This is pretty funny. Yeah, I could definitely sit here all day just scrolling through. Doesn't look like anyone's awake in chat, but I definitely have. I've answered all my questions. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fine to leave off
Okay.
now. If you ever want to talk again, I'd be happy to talk to you again. But
Okay. Thanks. Yeah. All right. So I'll jump off now. Then. Yeah. Nice talking to you.
yep, have a good day.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye. See you.
All right. Hopefully everyone else had a fun learning session about mascots. I would much prefer to have these things running around the US than furries. I think it'd be much funnier. One of these was a pretty terrifying costume. I wonder where it was. But anyway, follow Chris here, a British writer illustrator in Tokyo. If he gives me those images of his own mascots, I'm gonna put them up. I'd love to see what they turned out as. Besides Mouse Scott, we saw that one. And yeah, follow him on Twitter. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Talk to you another time. And I'm gonna close stream now. Good night, everyone.